If you lose the electric power, I mean, when I say power, I mean electricity, gas, that sort of thing. If you lose their power, you will lose the election. It's as simple as that. Ted Heath found that out back in the 70s with the 3-day week. You cannot deprive the nation of electricity. If they are plunged into darkness, they won't vote for you. Crazy Ed Miliband's mad rush to net zero is putting Britain at an increasing risk of Spanish-style blackouts like we saw last week. Massive blackouts. Who says so? Not campaigners, not Reform, no one like that. It is the UK's official grid operator. That's the National System Energy Operator, and they have filed an official report warning that reducing gas and nuclear power in favour of renewables, which Ed is doing on a massive scale, reduces network stability, and in order to try to prevent the system crashing, even now, because of what Ed's done, it's going to cost us £1 billion, but that prevention is by no means secure. So basically, Ed Miliband's mad rush to net zero is already putting this nation at great risk of massive power cuts. So get ready, folks. It looks like it's about to happen. This is no fly-by-night saying this. This is our official grid warning. This is bad news, isn't it?
It's huge news. And it's interesting that this is coming from, as you say, it's such a authoritative source, because remember during those Spanish and Portuguese outages, the BBC in particular was very reluctant to report what energy specialists were saying, is that this was a product of being so dependent upon renewable energies. You know, sometimes we're not told the truth by some of our mainstream broadcasters, I'm afraid, and this is undeniable. This is the credibility of the source means they can't ignore it, but I still think they will. And do you know why? During the break, Kevin, I was talking about when will Labour MPs get unhappy with Starmer? You know, things that Labour MPs really care about: immigration, welfare, overseas aid. He's moved in such a different direction. I'm surprised there's not more rebellion. But they've got one thing that they hold on to. A polling of Labour members show who's the most popular member of the cabinet. It's Ed Miliband.
Among the
Labour activists. Yeah. They have.
Why are they all so mad?
Well, that's a whole different. How long have we got? An hour? Days. But they are. This is not the government they expected. They thought this would be a different Labour government. They didn't think they were going to have another Blair period. They thought this was a real Labour government. Yeah. They're not getting anything they really wanted, apart from this green stuff. Of course he should jettison it, for the reasons you just stated. It's very dangerous for our electricity supply and the continuity of it. But if he was to jettison Ed Miliband, he's already leaking votes to the Green Party, to the Liberal Democrats. Yeah. He's got stay-at-home voter problem. Yeah. So I'm afraid a few very religious about green issues in his party will probably fight over this one more than they fought about the other issues, because it's one of the few things they think that they're now getting that's worthwhile having out of a Labour government. Well, so we're really being held to ransom by left-wing activists.
Well, if we start getting big power cuts, I wonder what Starmer will do about that.
Then he'll have to do something. But I think it may take those big power cuts to actually happen before he forces his hand. I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, indeed. Now, we always have these fun conversations, don't we? Who would you...
Cheering ourselves up.
Who would you... which cabinet minister should be sacked first? What's the order of play? I think Miliband first, Bridget Phillipson very close second, obviously Rachel Reeves. What's your order of play?
I think Ed Miliband is the most dangerous person, although he's basically competent. He can talk and string a sentence together. But the one I really object to is David Lammy. I'm so sorry, but where do I start with him? But Foreign Office the Foreign Secretary isn't the biggest job in the cabinet, because normally the Prime Minister does your foreign policy.
Yeah, that's true.
I've always thought that the Defence Secretary is a bigger job in a way, because they have a proper budget, they have resources to command.
And it's not glamorous, so the Prime Minister doesn't get his oar in, doesn't butt in to take the glory.
But, where to begin with David Lammy? He apologises to Britain when he goes abroad all the time for our colonial history and all the rest of it. He, it's always been the case that the Foreign Office represents the world to Britain rather than Britain to the world. But normally the Foreign Secretary is the exception. He is the political champion of Britain, but I don't believe in him. Who'd you get rid of? First,
obviously Miliband. I would like to see Rachel from Accounts go fairly soon. But the one who politically probably worries me the most is Bridget Phillipson, who is just an out-and-out class warrior. There is no logical, practical reason for the VAT.
Pure hatred.
VAT on private schools, public schools. She's doing it out of pure hatred. And don't forget, she's also a classic socialist. Really doesn't like freedom of speech. Do you remember her first measure when she came in was to try to reverse what the Tories had done, what Rishi Sunak did, which was the freedom of speech on university campuses. Yeah. And she tried to cancel it. It's like, so you don't like the idea of freedom of speech on university campuses?
That's its children, isn't it? Yeah. And of course she was been turned into pretzels really in her position on trans issues as well. She doesn't believe in this Supreme Court ruling like a lot of the Labour MPs, but they're having to put up with it. But behind the scenes, do you think they're really implementing this policy, honestly?
They hate it, don't they?
I don't.
If I hear one more of those people saying, we're grateful to the Supreme Court for the clarity, what they mean is we're extremely ungrateful to the Supreme Court for ruining our left-wing little lives. But there's a fight ahead, isn't there, with that rule?
I still can't quite believe it, actually, Kevin, that a bunch of lawyers all did the right
5
thing
years
unanimously.
Yeah, but
it was sort of
I still can't believe it took them 5 years.
And they followed public opinion. They followed when it was already probably more or less settled in the public mind. But they did it. They didn't have to do it. They did it.
Yeah, but we're in for a battle, aren't we? On all fronts. The NHS is basically doing nothing about it so far.
The big issue there is still immigration, and I don't think there has been a more profound change in our country over the last 30, 40 years than immigration. It was done without our approval. It was done, again, politicians kept promising to control immigration, they didn't. The effect it's had on our inner cities, the pressure on our housing stock, the sense of community cohesion, the pressure on our countryside, it's been enormous. And I think if we do not bring immigration under control by voting for change at the next election, it may be too late. Britain will be changed fundamentally.
Yeah, the major problem is legal migration, because we're allowing
that's where the volume is.
Best part of 1 million people in every year, and that's way, way too many. But the illegal migrant crisis is a really, really bad look. Did you hear the numbers for yesterday? 601. I mean, apparently, while Keir Starmer was actually delivering his speech, during the time it took to deliver that speech, 200 more docked in Folkestone, which sort of sums up the position we're in. Tim Montgomery, great to have you back on the show. I hope you come back next week. That's Tim Montgomery, the former, well, no, he's not the former, he is the founder of Conservative Home. He's now with Reform.